Hey, true crime fanatics, this is Claire.
And I'm Andy.
You're tuned in to the Homicide Hobbies podcast, which is a podcast for people who love to hear about the horrendous crimes that people commit. Enjoy.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Papin sisters. We've got Leah and Christine. This is one of France's grisliest murders. They lived in 1926 as servants for the Lancelin family. We've got Rene, the husband, or the father. He was a retired lawyer. We've got Leonie, his wife, and then Genevieve, who is their adult daughter. It was reported that the sisters were a bit on the strange side. They didn't talk to anybody but each other, and they also avoided the husband, Rene. They worked for this family for 7 years and never once spoke to him. They showed no interest in anything or anyone except each other. Leonie, the wife, was very strict, and she was known to be a perfectionist. And when she wanted something done, rather than communicate with the sisters verbally, she would write instructions and give them written instruction. The sisters were hard workers. They completed their tasks or chores that were assigned to them very quickly and efficiently. Family was admired for having such good servants by their friends. Like, they were the talk of the town because they had such great servants.
Maybe it's because she provided written instructions, so she didn't have to repeat herself. They could reference the notes.
Maybe. There were some reports saying that the sisters were treated well. We'll get on their treatment a little bit further, but people said they were treated well because they ate the same foods as the family, and that they had a heated bedroom in the attic, and they were paid a fair wage at the time.
Well, that's way better than the neighbors where the rats nibbled their toes and they were fed scraps from the pigs.
And for those that don't understand sarcasm,
that was it.
That brings us to February 1933. It was a dark, rainy night. Leonie and her daughter Genevieve were going on a shopping trip, and they were supposed to meet Rene at Leonie's brother's house. So Rene was waiting with his brother-in-law for his wife and daughter to come over there, and then they were going to have dinner before they returned home. But while the mother and daughter pair were out shopping, they decided they wanted to head home instead of going to her brother's house.
That was so they could hide all the things that they bought.
Pretty much. That's the first thing I thought, actually.
Like, we got to drop this stuff off first, and then we'll go meet them for dinner.
Pretty much. That's exactly what I thought. It's like the back in the day, hide the packages.
Yes. How things don't change over time.
Right. So when the mother and daughter pair did not appear at the house to meet Rene and her brother, Rene and his brother-in-law decide to go home to look for his wife and his daughter. Now we're going to put a pause on what Rene found, and we're going to backtrack a little. While the family was out, Leah and Christine Papin were carrying on with their daily duties and running their errands. And one of the errands that they had for the day was to pick up an iron from a repair shop. But once they got home, one of the sisters plugs the iron in, and it blew a fuse. So I guess back then, the way you go about changing a fuse was a lot more difficult. So the sisters decided to wait to try to repair the fuse until in the morning, since the family wasn't expected to be home before it was really late. But it was raining, and Leonie and Genevieve return home. And when they get there, according to Christine, when Leonie found out that the iron was broken again and that the electricity was out, Christine says that Leonie flew into a violent rage and started like physically assaulting Christine.
I kind of feel like when she got home and like the lights are out and she's just fucking livid because in her mind, no, this is how I view people who provide service to other people, but I picture her snooty ass coming home from shopping all day and just being like, the lights don't turn on. I have fucking piece of shit servants that now I get to come home. No lights. Who gets to foot that bill? That'd be me. And then now I gotta go and try to put my shit away in the dark. And then it's just like, this is why we can't have nice things. They're going around fucking it up.
And then probably also the fact that it was raining.
Yeah.
Probably soured the mood a little.
Yeah.
And it was also February, so probably cold and rainy.
Not to condone belittling people, but
not at all, or becoming physically abusive. But according to Christine, when Leonie found out that everything was not as it should have been, or as she felt it should have been, she flew into a violent rage. Well, in self-defense, supposedly, Christine smashed a pewter jug on Leonie's head. And for those that don't know, a pewter jug it could have been like a basin, a serving dish, mugs, a bedpan, a commode. Just, it
she
could be anything.
smashed her over the head with a pea pot.
It's entirely possible. To which
Although
Genevieve,
I'd imagine it was a clean pea pot if they were cleaning all day.
you would think, or at least you would hope. But then again, it was dark, so they could have missed it.
Ew.
So Genevieve came to her mother's defense and starts attacking Christine. So Christine's smashing the mom in the head, and now Genevieve is
Defending Maul.
defending Maul. Yep. Enraged, Christine apparently shouted, "I'm going to massacre them."
Yes, somebody had a bad day.
Yeah. She's been working in the dark.
No, I feel like this all kind of collides all at once. You got two sisters who spent their day cleaning and trying to do what they could. Yeah, a fuse blew, but fuses do that. And this is kind of 50 years into electricity being a thing. So I would imagine blown fuses were obviously more common than they are now, but still a thing. And then they were exhausted from shopping all the time. It's a rainy, gloomy day. They're supposed to get ready for dinner. Can't get ready in the dark. Like, in just some words to be had. And I would imagine in the dark, it's kind of like keyboard courage kind of thing, that it's easier to be a hateful little shit if you can't see somebody very well.
That's true. Well, Leah rushes down from the attic and starts attacking Leonie, with Christine egging her on. So Christine's attacking Genevieve, and now Leah's attacking Leonie.
Family on family brawl.
Pretty much. And basically, whatever Christine is shouting out, Leah would do. So Christine was shouting out like extreme acts of violence, and Leah would just follow the commands.
Like, good suggestion. Break her face!
So pretty close to that, actually. And we're going to throw a trigger warning for extreme violence and
basting.
Shh, you're not supposed to know that. We're having to redo this case because of audio issues. Thank you, Claire. Anywho, Christine proceeds to yell, or to tell Leah, shut up, to tell Leah to smash Leonie in the head, smash her. You messed me up, Claire.
Well, you know what I was gonna say when I was doing the whole break his face. I don't know what movie that's off of. Oh, yes, I do. The Hard Way with James Woods. It's little old. I forget what her name is, but she's a small child in that movie, and they're getting in like a squabble in the pizza place, and he gets into a fight, and she's just yelling from the sidelines. And this little 5-year-old is like, "Break his face!" And they're just like, "What?" That's what that was from, by the way, because I forgot that part of the case.
Didn't know. Anyhow, so Christine proceeds to tell Leah, quote, "Smash her," meaning Leonie, to smash Leonie's head into the ground and tear out her eyes. Is that enough face breaking for you?
Plenty. I mean, it does surpass the criteria of just smashing a face when you start plucking things from it.
It's not funny.
It's not.
But anyway,
I've got a thing. Eyes and fingernails is no.
Well, Leah listens. So she smashes Leonie's head into the ground and proceeds to tear out her eyeballs. Meanwhile, Christine was committing the same acts of violence to Genevieve. So Leonie and Genevieve are still alive.
Eyeballless.
They've now had their eyeballs ripped out, their heads have been smashed into the floor, and they're not unconscious. So they're busy pawing around trying to get some kind of bearings while screaming.
I'd imagine
Yeah,
a lot of screaming.
lots. The sisters took advantage of the mother and daughter being helpless and went to gather some tools. They grabbed a hammer, a knife, and another pewter pot.
This one full of turds.
I gave a nice pause so you could throw in your obnoxious comment. So you're welcome.
Well, thank you. Maybe they had like the runner's shits because they were so active that when they grabbed that pot, they were able to take a quick dump.
You know, there's some conversations that I'm
I
not going
didn't
to edit out,
say I
and you
didn't
deserve all
say
that you get.
I didn't say you or me or that either one of us have or currently have runner's shits. Just saying.
Well, since we threw it out there that Claire's an old time bedwetter, I was talking to her about how when you run, it's entirely possible to get what's called runner's gut, which is when you have to take a massive shit in the middle of a long run.
And just so we're all clear, I didn't realize that was a thing and thought you were just naming something that you experience. Poorly timed
No,
runs and bowels colliding. But we
no,
got
but that's
terribly off. So there's another pewter pot, possibly for toilet convenience, possibly not. We don't know. We weren't there. But so another pewter pot enters the picture.
this
Dun
is not
dun
funny
dun.
at
It's
all.
not. It's
And
not.
I'm very
Quit making a
grateful that
joke
none
of
of
it.
these people are still alive because I would be mortified and we would be recording this again just out of respect.
I'm not. I'm. It's. I feel for them. The eyeball gouging, fucking not cool. I'm just curious. The whole whether it was a pewter teapot. Those things can weigh like 2-3 pounds. That's a pretty like. You figure they make sledgehammers that have
So,
that weight to them. So if it was a teapot, a pewter pot, a hand basin, that like, and I'm just curious. The sick factor of me goes the spot of if it was a poop pot, was there poo? You know, I feel like the way
so
they reported history, especially when women were involved, they left out details if they thought it was too much of a delicate thing for people to read.
yes. Well, in my head, I'm glad to know that you went towards the poopy potty, but in my head, it was like a one of those really large like vases that they would put flowers in. Because I feel like
Um,
those were decorative pieces that you could find and were easily accessible, as where with your
yeah, the
poopy
pewter
potty,
pots
it would be
would be
kind
in
of
a
hidden in a bedroom, which would be more hard
yeah,
to get to. But that's
valid.
just me. In
Could
your
be a
head, you can
hand
go with poop.
washing.
Again, I still feel like that wouldn't be as easily accessible. I feel like that would be like in a bedroom or something, not so
Well,
much.
so again, anybody's welcome to correct us on this one, but I vaguely remember like for it was like a fancy pants thing of like you had like the thing to wash your hands when you came in
Yeah,
because since there weren't like downstairs bathrooms that could have been depending
like
on
a
what
wash
room.
basin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean it could be a thing, but yeah, probably have flower vase, but whatever, fine, there are no turds in there.
Okay. Anyway, Claire's on a roll today. Did you drink caffeine?
Perhaps.
Okay. Christine and Leah continue to strike the dying mother and daughter until they're no longer moving. So essentially, they beat them to death, or bare minimum, beat them unconscious. We're going to throw out just another trigger warning for genital mutilation.
You.
So, next, Christine and Leah proceed to lift up the skirts of Leonie and Genevieve and cut up their buttocks, their thighs, and their genitals. And then after carving up Leonie and Genevieve, they basted, yes, basted Leonie in her daughter's period blood.
Yeah, so you had me on the whole exhaustion, fly into a rage thing. Somebody else has been spending their day cleaning, fly into a rage. But my ability to understand where somebody's coming from stops at the genital mutilation, and we're way stopped before we get to the basting because I can't say what the fuck enough.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. And what
I
did
think
they
it was,
baste her with?
I don't know. I don't know if they had one of like the little suction thingies that you can like squeeze and it's like, and then
I could have done without the sound effects, just so we're clear. Like the visuals enough, but the sound effects, I like. Ugh.
or if they used a brush, or I don't know if they just used, you know how they use cloths or whatever when they were like on their periods back then. I don't know if
And
they just took the cloth when
wrung
because
it
they had
out.
to obviously remove it in order to mutilate her genitals and just wiped it all over the mom, which I think seems like it's more feasible.
Well, unless it was day one. Just saying. If it was day 5, a little harder, not enough to work with. I feel like we lose a lot of male listeners on this one. Just
Oh
throwing it
God.
out there.
So Rene and his brother-in-law left the brother's house to
To
so
figure out
Rene,
where the wife.
yeah. So Rene and his brother-in-law arrive back to the Lancelin family home. All the doors were locked. Like the house is completely black. And apparently he did not have a key to his own home. So he had to call a locksmith and police to help him gain entry into his home, which that's just seems crazy. You'd think the husband would have a
So,
key.
so I think in that time period, you didn't answer your own door either. So it was like there was already somebody home to answer the door, and your servants.
Which also, by the way, is why I think that it was more of like a vase or like a wash basin for their hands.
Yeah,
Most likely a vase because I interpret it as they opened the door and the struggle took place kind of right there in the entryway.
yeah, because they
So,
really just put their shit down and then flew into what the fuck.
yeah.
Although
So,
I'm gonna throw it out there that when she had to go get another one, she could have rummaged around and got a shit pot. We don't know.
that's true.
She
So,
basted somebody. Let's go with that. She's obviously a sick fuck.
yeah, she's got some issues. She's not all there.
Like, I can
So, they
tell you
get
if I was gonna murder somebody, that would not even come into a thought of possibility. Not that I would murder someone, but I can assure you, not basting anybody, dead or alive, with period blood. Or basting them at all. But just saying,
that was my
that
next
one's
question. Is something else on the table for the basting?
well,
So
butter,
Claire
some
likes to commit her murders
spices.
raw. No
I
seasoning, people.
I'm
No
I'm not
basting.
gonna repurpose fluids is what I'm getting at.
So you're not going to recycle.
That's 100% what I'm saying. Like, no, ma'am.
All right. At least we know where you stand on that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
anywho, back to Renee and his brother in law. Locksmiths arrive, police arrive, they get inside the house and they immediately find Leonie and Genevieve's mutilated bodies and pools of blood. So now the police and the locksmith go room to room, and the sisters had all the doors in the house were locked. So it was kind of like, hey, what's behind door number 2? They eventually make their way upstairs to the attic and unlock the door to the sisters' bedroom. And they find the sisters had cleaned themselves up after murdering Genevieve and Leonie. And when they unlock the door, the sisters are laying naked in bed together with a bloody hammer nearby, which, by the way, yeah, no, I don't understand the purpose in getting washed up, but bringing bloody tools to
They
come
like the
snuggle with
smell.
well, oh, okay.
Clearly, one of them had a blood fetish. So,
So the sisters immediately confess. Christine says it was self-defense. Leah told police, and I quote, "From now on, I'm deaf and dumb." While in prison, Christine was distressed from being separated from her sister. Eventually, they granted the sisters permission to see each other. Some reports state that the sisters were unnaturally close,
They
And
didn't
actually,
notice that when they found them naked in bed together? That seems like enough to say unnaturally close.
yes, well, some suspected that they had a sexual relationship.
Quick learner.
Again, the naked cuddling should have been a big red flag, but there's no proof. It's just all speculation. And I feel like back at that time, if a woman did something wrong, it was not hard to tarnish their name further. But
I'm gonna
who
bring up
knows?
the basting again.
Yes. Anywho, um, after a few months of Christine, after a few months, Christine suffered what they described as a mental breakdown, and she tried to gouge out her own eyeballs.
So we got the eye gouger and the baster.
Well, the eye gouger is also the baster. So Christine's more of your kind of Fruit Loop
Follower.
character here. Yeah.
She's the slow one that's easily manipulated.
No. Yeah, Leah's the slow one. Christine's the
Baster.
and the eye gouger. Their defense during the trial was temporarily insane due to the abuse of their masters. And they also tried to claim that they inherited crazy DNA. And they cited a cousin who died in an insane asylum, a grandfather prone to violent outbursts, and an uncle who committed suicide. So
Well, again, the basting. I'm gonna give it to them. Not the basting, but they're a little on the crazy side. And then
just
the
a
naked
little.
cuddling. That like
Yeah,
there's some issues there.
I'm not going to snuggle naked with you when we come visit, Claire,
I am glad of that, and my bedroom door shall be locked.
as
Keep
I
your
hope it
naked
shall
ass
remain.
to yourself.
Anywho, the sisters were deemed sane at the time of the murder and therefore guilty.
Hmm. Hmm.
Christine was sentenced to death by guillotine, and it was originally scheduled to be in the public square at, I'm going to butcher this. I do not speak French, but Le Mans
Le Mans,
on
yeah.
September 30th, 1933. We'll get back to that because that guillotine head chopping action never actually occurs.
Hmm.
But Leah Papin was only charged as an accomplice, and she was given just 10 years of hard labor. I don't know what her hard labor ended up being, but seeing as how the other case you did the other day was helping build a prison,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I
Well,
don't know what her,
even hard labor in other countries now, you can die of that.
yeah.
Like, so it's
So
not good. And I'd imagine in the 1920s, when you can't prove what's happening and everybody turns a blind eye, that it could be anything. Did she live through those 10 years?
she did. Um, but let's bounce back to Christine now. Got ADD going on here.
Hmm.
While waiting for execution, Christine lost her mind and again tried to claw out her own eyeballs. And back then, you could not execute a crazy person. So they communed her guillotine sentence and gave her life in prison. However, she decided to starve herself and she died 4 years later in 1937.
Because she starved herself?
Yep,
That's commitment.
it really is. Leah, however, was released after 8 of her 10 years in prison, and she was released in 1941.
Good luck
And
getting a
then,
job after that.
actually, she went and moved in with her mother and got a job at a French hotel under a new identity.
That's
And
what,
like we've said in the past, it's very hard for them to keep tabs on stuff back at that time. So I feel like once she started using a new identity, her
yeah,
past
Bob's
was
your
kind of
uncle.
wiped clean. And then, although none of that is confirmed, it's just speculated that she was living with her mom. Um,
I'm
they
surprised
believe,
they didn't ostracize her.
yeah, they believe that she died in 1982. So, natural causes. She lived a long
Very
life.
long life, yeah.
They also made a movie about this called Murderous Maids. It was on Netflix at one point and
Have
on
you
Amazon
watched it?
Prime. I did not. It's currently unavailable.
Because
It
I was
is a
gonna
sub.
say,
This is the one I was telling you about the other day that it's all on subtitles.
um,
Yeah.
Not against reading, but I'm a multitasker, so it makes it difficult to read things and multitask.
Right? But
And it seems excessive to learn French to be able to continue my multitasking.
yeah. And I don't like when they do the voiceovers because I don't know. The voice actors, I know it's probably a difficult job, but
Yeah,
it,
you lose the emotion.
yeah, kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
loses the effect. But
How cool would it have been? Like, maybe cool is not the right word. If she would have become
probably
a
not.
chef. I feel like you're not following the basting.
I 100% followed it. I just wasn't going to dignify it with any type of response because that's just disgusting.
I'm not saying I'm just
You know,
saying
wait.
that when she got out and got a job, I'm surprised she went to service because people are not respectful of that profession. But
They're not
to
at all.
know that you went through the abuse that you did, although it could just be that that's the only skill she had anyhow. But
Yeah. Hey, if we had done this case, started the podcast back when you were up here visiting for Thanksgiving, this case would have put a whole new meaning to basting the turkey. Just saying. Oh, so now you're going to go silent? Okay. Claire's feeling extra spunky today,
Mhm.
guys.
Yeah. Is that all the basting you have today?
Yes, that's all I've got.
Well, till next time, I guess, for the scarring information. I won't
Yeah.
look at my baster the same.
No, I won't either. This one was pretty
Although,
ooey.
so when I did try to tell that one to Dave, and he's just like paused and did the whole, "What's basting?" It loses its effect if you don't cook or know what basting is, because then you're not vividly picturing what's going on there.
Yeah. When I was doing the research, I found two different articles that used the comparison of basting, so had to follow suit. I guess you could have said smearing or wiping, but
Yep,
yeah,
it's just colorful journalism there.
yes, I liked. It gives you the nice mental picture of something very disgusting.
And
Which
ruins kitchen appliances all at the same time.
I don't understand like the eyeball gouging. Like like
Um,
two other people, but her trying to do it to herself.
well, she lost her mind.
I feel like she lost it way before that, but
Valid.
like it seems like that was like a go-to thing for her because she did it to Genevieve and then she told her sister to do it to the mother. So, and then she tried to do it for herself. I mean, I don't know. That just seems kind of,
Yeah, something symbolic of eyeballs for her.
yeah, I don't get it. It would not be my go-to move.
Mm, perhaps it's one
Not that
of
I have a
those.
go-to move.
Well, perhaps it's one of those like almost like when people hate, or like when crazy people that is can't stand a mirror. It's like the self-reflection thing. They don't want them seeing anything, and then
Yeah.
she didn't want to see anything more, and it's hard to know what all went on in a female prison. I can't imagine it was good. So
No. Can you imagine the smell?
now I can. What the hell?
I was going to say something about this case and I don't remember what it was. I got distracted.
I feel like you've said enough.
The thing is we'll stop recording and then I'll call you and we'll end
And
up picking up
remember.
where we left off and I'll remember
Yeah,
because that's just the way it seems to work.
true. You just need to walk past a baster.
No. Anywho. All right. I'm leaving that in. Oh, shit. Anywho.
Thank you for listening to Homicide Hobbies. I'm Claire.
I'm Andy.
Follow us each week to get your fix of the atrocities that occur in true crime. And don't forget to tell people about us and rate us if you like us. But don't rate us if you didn't. Just change the channel.